All right, I think we're live. Good evening. This is MemphisWeather.net meteorologist Eric Procius. Appreciate everyone who's going to be joining in tonight. And it looks like our stream is live here. I'm going to pause that so I'm not getting an echo. And I appreciate everybody who's joining. We're here to talk about round number 2 as winter weather strikes the Mid-South again. We had the event obviously on Friday, and that was a predominant sleet event and a little bit of snow on top of it, but caused a lot of problems, especially with ice on the roadways. And I think we got a little bit different beast that we're handling tonight. And so I want to go through and kind of give you the idea of what to expect here in the Memphis area. And in surrounding areas, and we'll probably run through one of our high-res models to give you an idea of kind of what the radar is going to look like, talk about temperatures a little bit, and then get into the Arctic cold that's coming in behind this yet again. I'm kind of tired of saying Arctic cold, but here we go again. There is some good news on the horizon. And then we'll have a little discussion here on the panel after that. We'll try and keep this to around 30 minutes. I'll make sure we get the main points up here at the front so that those of you that don't have that amount of time can get your information and move on. But first, I want to welcome all of our panelists on tonight. And I will start with those on my team here. Alex Herbst from Mississippi State. Welcome on tonight. Will you take just a moment to introduce yourself to those who aren't familiar with your work?
Hi folks, this is Alex Herbst. I'm a second-year grad student at Mississippi State, and well, I just got back to school from the AMS conference in Austin, so following me around here with all this cold weather.
And we appreciate you bringing your New York style of winter down here to to Memphis, Tennessee. Thanks for being on tonight. Also, MWN intern Lauren Pounds down at Mississippi State also. She's a Louisianian. How do you say that? Tell me how you say that,
That's
Lauren.
right, Louisianian.
That's really hard to say. So not necessarily as familiar with this, but welcome on tonight. You want to say hello and tell people about yourself a little bit?
Yeah, hey guys. I'm a junior at Mississippi State, meteorology major. And yeah, I'm from Louisiana, so I don't see this quite often, so it's really exciting. I did see 5 inches this December, though, so.
You guys had snow down there, yeah, before everybody else did this winter down there on the lake.
A decent amount too.
Very cool. It was good timing that you were able to go back during the break and catch that down there. And then we've got the peanut gallery here. As always, John and Daniel are joining as well. John Maddox came out of hiding to join us tonight, and I'm appreciative of that. How are you, John?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me again. And as you get older, Lauren, you will appreciate the snow less and less, I can assure you.
Probably so.
Yeah, John has been on hiatus since he finished the blue-gray reports and wrapped up a great Tiger season, and we're always thankful for those as well. And Daniel Gafford has got his babies asleep, I think, tonight, and is ready to talk about some snow. Right, Daniel?
That's right. They may not be asleep, but they're at least quiet and in their rooms, so that's a win-win.
We'll see how long that lasts. Remind you, there's a mute button up at the top of your screen there that you can use.
I've got it blown up just in case.
Gotcha. Perfect. So I think what I'm going to do is we're going to jump right into it here and get a screen share going, make sure I've got my proper screen being shared, and we will get right into what we're expecting tonight. It is another round of wintry precipitation, and fortunately, this one, with the exception of right now having just a little bit of sleet mixed in with some snow, temperatures are just above freezing here in the metro. It was nice and warm today, so roads were pretty warm going into this. That helps out for the first couple of hours, but the light snow will start here fairly quickly, and it will remain light but steady throughout the overnight hours tonight. It looks like it's going to snow pretty much all night long. It will be ending somewhere around 8 to 9 o'clock in the morning, and I will just not worry about the teasers and everything. We're going to give you the information right off the top here. I am currently calling for 2 to 3 inches of snow here in the Memphis metro. Slowly kind of creeping up. 3 inches, I say, is kind of the high end, but I have somewhat fairly high confidence in a 2-inch snow here for most folks in the metro. As we go through the nighttime hours, besides having the snow, we are going to be seeing these temperatures plummet. Arctic front moved through earlier this evening, late this afternoon. We did reach about 44 degrees this afternoon, but we're down almost to 32 now. And by sunrise tomorrow, we're looking at a very good likelihood that we're going to be in the mid-teens. Combine that with a north wind of 10 to 15 miles an hour with gusts, and there is a wind chill advisory that has been issued for the Memphis Metro and points north, because we will see wind chills drop to near zero as we head out the door, or maybe stay inside the door tomorrow morning. It's going to be a very, very cold start to the day. We will see some sunshine behind this. Actually, the clouds are going to clear fairly quickly once this system moves out of here. It is driven by the upper level jet stream, actually, that is producing the lift necessary to get this snow to form behind the cold front, kind of creating kind of a mid-level front. But that will move out pretty quickly. We'll see afternoon sunshine. But unfortunately, we're going to be ending up with highs near 20 degrees tomorrow afternoon, especially if we've got some snow cover. There's just very little recovery that's going to take place during the day tomorrow. All of the sunshine that is beaming down on us is going to be put to work melting what is on the ground rather than warming temperatures in the lowest part of the atmosphere. So we will not see much warming. And moving on from there into Wednesday night, and Tuesday night into Wednesday, and then Wednesday night, it is going to stay below freezing that entire time, despite having clear skies. Wednesday will be another sunny day, but we will not see freezing above freezing again until Thursday afternoon. Cover real quickly here some of the winter weather alerts that are out. This was as of 6:45. I've not seen any updates to these, and we'll probably get into a little discussion about some of this here in a little bit. But for now, winter weather advisory and a wind chill advisory are in effect for the counties there in purple. That it does include Memphis and Shelby County, Crittenden County, Tipton County, Fayette County, and then just south of the Mississippi line, Tunica, Marshall County, DeSoto, and Tate County, all under a winter storm warning. Those go until noon tomorrow for all of those advisories and warnings. And the difference between the winter storm warning and winter weather advisory is just a slightly higher confidence in a little bit more snow down to the south that kind of trips the threshold for going into a winter storm warning. So it's still going to be fairly similar as far as the impacts are concerned. Right now we're looking at, maybe about 2 inches or so. Here in the Memphis and Shelby County, down in DeSoto County, it looks like they may get 3 inches or so of snow, a little more likely. So that's why they're in the winter storm warning. And I think that we might have just been upgraded.
Yep.
How about that? So how about if we flip over here real quick? This is on the fly, folks, live television here for you. And there's the new map right there, actually. So disregard what I just said. Winter storm warning was just now issued for Crittenden County, Shelby County, Fayette County, Tipton County, and points northeast. And I will hazard a bet, without looking at the discussions from the National Weather Service, that there is increased confidence in higher impacts during the overnight and early morning hours, and that is why the winter storm warning has very likely been issued. And I think that that's probably a good thing, because I think we're going to be looking at those impacts as we go through the night. So let's, I'm going to flip over one more time here to the high-res rapid refresh model that is our 1 hourly forecast model. It gives us very good definition of forecast precipitation. It goes out 18 hours and it runs every hour of the day. And we call it the HRR model, high-res rapid refresh. And I'm going to start this out here at about 8 o'clock. And you see it does, it actually did pick up on some of this precipitation filling in over the metro ahead of this main band that was coming down from the north. Now, what we've been watching basically is this main band kind of extends well up into Kentucky and up into the Ohio Valley. That is going to kind of move off to the east-northeast and we'll get another area that starts to fill in back here from the southwest, and we're kind of right in the middle. So as that area moves to the northeast, the precipitation that's kind of broken out this afternoon over our area is filling in back to the southwest. And so as we go into the night here, there's 9 o'clock and 10 o'clock, and you see that kind of just all joins together there. This one starts to lift off to the northeast. You got this one moving in from the southwest. And then it basically is just a semi-narrow band of snow that moves right over the metro area, right along the I-40 corridor for those that like that. And then as we go through the overnight hours, slips down to the south. Let it catch up with me here. There it goes. And you can see basically by morning time, that's 10 o'clock. Let me back it up one frame. There's 9 o'clock. So basically you see the back edge of it, fairly definitive back edge, it looks like, that'll move through by roughly 8 to 10 o'clock, depending on which part of the metro you're in. I also want to give you a quick look while we're there at the forecast snow totals at that time. And you see that swath, and there's that area that this particular model, the HER model, is depicting as a 2 to 3 inch swath right through the middle of the Memphis metro area. And so that's the kind of things that we've been looking at, especially as we get closer. These models are picking up on some of that heavier banding that might be setting up during the overnight hours, picking up a little bit more snow. So while we were thinking 1 to 2 inches, maybe as late as this morning, we started getting these high-res models that started to pick up on this band being a little bit heavier. And so now my forecast is for 2 to 3 inches. The other thing I'll show you here real quick before we have a little discussion on this, I'm going to flip this over to the temperatures. This is the 9 a.m. temperature, according to this model, and if it's a little bit hard to see there, but it has 12 at Memphis International. It has 10 up in Millington, basically in the low teens. I think this might be a little bit cool based on everything else I've been looking at, but needless to say, we're going to be very, very cold tomorrow morning with temperatures that are down at least probably to the middle teens. Right now I've got a forecast low of 16 tonight. I may lower that another degree or two before we get through the evening here. And the wind chill factor, as I flip over to that, you will see is also very, very cold. Where it flips over from the blues and reds over to the kind of greenish color, that is 0. That's the 0 line. So these are all wind chills right around 0 in the metro tomorrow morning. So we've got a pretty interesting night ahead. I think it's going to be one of those where the snow is not necessarily going to come in heavy bursts. But it could very well just be a prolonged enough event that we kind of build up over the night, and with the temperatures falling, it looks like it's going to be sticking as it comes down, and that will include the roadways. So that's an overview of what we're kind of expecting tonight. I'll have some takeaways here when we get to it, get to that a little bit later, but I'll open the floor up here. If you guys have any thoughts initially here on what you've seen and kind of the trends at this point. Daniel, go ahead.
You showed that snowfall map, and at the top it says 10 to 1 ratio. So that, if you're wondering, watching what that is, that means for every 1 inch of liquid precipitation, that translates to 10 inches of snow. And so, Eric, you may want to talk about, we may have higher ratios than that, which could change snowfall totals a little bit.
Yeah, and that's true. And I kind of hesitate to say the snowfall totals might be higher than that when I just showed a 3-inch snow map. So
blame Kuchera.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, basically snow ratios is the amount of liquid that is left once you melt an inch of snow. And so typically in this area, we run about a 10 to 1 ratio, which means if we were expecting 1/10 of an inch of liquid precipitation, it would be an inch of snow. That varies, though, particularly with temperature and dew point. And so the colder that you are and the drier the air is that the precipitation, the snow is falling through, the higher those ratios go. And so it's not unusual to see, especially up north, northern plains and so forth, they may get 20 to 1 ratios, which means the same amount of liquid where we get an inch of snow here would produce 2 inches up there, or double. And because our temperatures tonight are falling down into the 20-degree range by the time this ends, we're going to start with a fairly average type of, kind of halfway wet snow, a normal type of snow. But by the time we get to morning, that same 1/10 of an inch would produce more snow. And so I think the average over the entire system that we're getting tonight may end up being in the 12 to 15 to 1 type of range. So with the liquid amounts that we were looking at, and I think our melted amount of precipitation tonight is going to come in somewhere around 1/4 or 2/10 of an inch. If you multiply that by 10, that's 2 to 2.5 inches. If you multiply it by 15, you're talking about 3 inches or a little bit better. So we're going to keep an eye on that as we go through the night, but that's a very, very good point. A lot of these models, snow map models you look at, are 10 to 1 ratios, which is pretty much standard.
In that transition point there that you're talking about, Eric, the could be key with how the roads end up being over the next 24 hours. You start with that wet snow, creates that little base layer once the roads start to cool off, and then you get that dry snow on top, and it could be quite a mess out there.
Yeah, exactly. Especially when we get towards the end of the event, I think that'll have even more of an impact. The roads are definitely going to be an issue tomorrow morning. I'm fairly confident of that. And this may be a good point to bring up a little bit of the discussion about 4 years ago, right about this time, down, a lot of you will remember Birmingham and Atlanta, the southern snow of January 28th, 2014, when they had Snowmageddon, as they called it, down in Atlanta. It was a 1 to 2 inch snow that occurred with temperatures around 20 degrees. I actually looked up the Birmingham stats last night because they experienced very similar type of conditions. But basically what happened is that event occurred during rush hour into the morning hours, and the pavement was fairly warm ahead of that. And you had temperatures, surface temperatures or air temperatures that were down around 20. And so as soon as the snow started falling, cars were driving on it. And so the warmth from the tires and the warmth from the road melted what was hitting the ground. But because the air temperature was so cold, it basically flash freeze. And so you end up with traffic actually causing a bigger issue because it melted the snow and then it immediately froze with those really, really cold temperatures. Something I brought up in the blog yesterday, in fact, for those of you that read it, that I have a little bit of a concern over that. I think it may be muted a little bit by the fact that a lot of this is falling during the overnight when we don't have a lot of traffic. So I think it would be worse if this were happening at the timing that maybe Birmingham did. But we could very well end up with, you know, an inch of snow on the ground or on the roads that then becomes a sheet of ice, basically, because we're going to stay so cold during the day tomorrow that could happen. So it's kind of a toss-up whether that's going to happen or whether it's going to be kind of a light enough snow that the wind kind of blows it around a little bit. We maybe don't get that. What other thoughts do you guys have? I see John nodding his head there.
Going to be my next question is and going to, you know, play a bigger factor. I'm trying to remember, but I don't think there, you know, one thing to know, like this all fluffy, powdery down ability on an issue that we're going to have a pretty good into and grows up. Don't keep the big old down. Maybe that's how the quite a bit is how the wind will get a hold of some of these little snowflakes falling around.
Yeah, I caught a good part of that. Yeah, it was a little in and out there, John. But I do know that you were asking about how much the wind might factor in and kind of clear those roads off a little bit relative to actual compaction of the snow by traffic and creating more of a mess. So it's a good question because I really don't know. We're gonna have to look in the morning and kind of see, you know, how much is on the roads. I know that the surface temperatures, looked this afternoon while I was at work, the surface temperatures on the roadways are running in the mid 50s this afternoon. And that's, you know, that's with sunshine that was out and temperatures in the 40s, but it won't take much to drop those temperatures pretty quick with precip, and I'm sure they're falling now. So Lauren or Alex, do you guys have any thoughts on what we've talked about so far or what you think might happen up here?
I mean, I think that John's right on the money with we have to watch the wind here, especially on the latter half of the storm, because I could blow down some of the snow, especially what we've seen in the Northeast could very much pan out here, down here, where we see they start to get blown away from the roads. We still have that layer right now, that snow and sleet that creates that kind of a base layer of where we're going to see that stuff freezing over, and that's going to create some problems. Potentially for tomorrow, but also potentially for a longer period of time if they're not able to clear those roads off as easily.
Yes, the first half of the night I think is could kind of set the stage for how much of that kind of gets before the wind really gets picking up, and while the snow is a little bit wetter, how much of it sticks, and then kind of what do you get on top of that, and you get some schools, or I'm sorry, some traffic out there on the roads, and you'll get a little bit of compaction. So. I think I will pivot here just for a moment and talk about also warnings versus advisories. This question has come up on our Facebook page over and over and over again today. And we've seen that line that we were just talking about, which actually got moved now as we were talking, that between the advisory and the winter storm warning. So the technical definition for the Memphis area for a winter storm warning, when you're talking about just snow, is a 3-inch snowfall within 12 hours or a 4-inch snowfall in 24 hours. So when the Weather Service is forecasting 2 inches of snow in Memphis and Shelby County, and there's no other precip expected, then by definition, it is a winter weather advisory and not a warning. The main difference between those two, as far as how it relates to the public, is that a winter storm warning is expected to cause greater impact to commerce, business, transportation, and so forth. Whereas the winter weather advisory is more of, well, it's going to cause nuisance conditions and you can kind of get through it. With an event like this, when you're very close to that threshold, we've already still got a little bit of ice on the ground from before. The timing going into rush hour tomorrow, I'm glad that they pulled the trigger on the winter storm warning, because I think there's enough other factors involved that the warning just grabs people's attention better and makes people take notice. And there's a lot of confusion already out there about watch, warning, advisory. What does one mean? What does the other? So I think it's probably a good idea for them, as they did, to go to that winter storm warning. Does anybody have any other thoughts on that process? Because I tend to think that the words sometimes get in the way of what we're trying to convey, and that is, okay, what is it going to look like tomorrow morning? I don't care what we call it.
Yeah, hopefully this is a little better on the bandwidth side. Switch Wi-Fi networks. Anyway, you're right, and we always kind of come back to this, but to me, this always comes back to the Hurricane Sandy discussion, right? Is it a hurricane? Is it not a hurricane? Does that really matter? It's more about, I'm with you, Eric, it's more about impact, and I think that because this is an overnight event, the warning might urge people that may have to get up and go to work in the morning to get up a little bit earlier, check the roads a little earlier, versus, oh, well, I'm just going to need to add 10 minutes to my commute.
For people that are new to the area, that may be new to Memphis, and may have moved from the north, it will seem a little bit different to them that winter storm warning may have for you a 2 to 3 inch type of storm. Up there, we're used to seeing it maybe half a foot to a foot of snow. It is warranted, certainly, here, because it is, like you said, Eric, it's impacting commerce, it's impacting travel, it's impacting more than just being a nuisance for your daily commute. Different amount we're talking about here compared to maybe areas in the north that are used to dealing with a little more snow, but it certainly makes sense here.
Yeah, and that's also why there's different criteria for different parts of the country as well. For our area, it's 3 inches. Actually, for Northwest Tennessee, it's 4 inches. And as you go farther north, it's 6 or even 8 inches to be able to get a warning out. So that's, the criteria is based on the geographic area, which makes a lot of sense. But for us here, it's 3 inches. And the warning, and actually for North Mississippi, it's 2 inches. And so that was why they got the warning initially, I think, is because they had been forecasting closer to 3 down to our south. So definitely something to don't let yourself get hung up on the words that are used, the terminology that is used. Everybody needs to be paying attention to what the particular impacts might be. So talking about those impacts a little bit, certainly I think the roads are going to be probably an issue in the morning. I would call it at least hazardous, if not treacherous. And in fact, I think I'm going to go ahead and screen share some of our takeaways, and then we can kind of discuss a little bit more on that as well here as we go to that. But here's the takeaways I've got for tonight as far as the driving conditions are concerned. Hazardous to treacherous driving conditions Tuesday, and I put in maybe Wednesday on there too. We saw how long the sleet lasted into Saturday, and even for areas that didn't get any sunshine into Sunday. And perfectly honest with you, some of it this morning too, until we got back up in the 40s. So this could, especially if the scenario comes about where we end up with compaction on the roads and that snow that we start off with becoming ice, this would definitely go into Wednesday if that is the case. So allow extra travel time, and I would just say if it gets as bad as we think it possibly could in the morning, you'll want to be checking certainly road conditions and so forth. But if you can avoid going out, I would say avoid it and just stay in. We've practiced that recently. Let's practice it again. And I know for those of you who have school-age children out there, you've now had a 4-day weekend. Now you're looking at a 5-day weekend. For some of you, that's great. Some of you are going, my gosh, open the schools up, send these kids back to school. They're driving me nuts. But it looks like there's a decent chance. I do not call school outages or closures, but if this happens as we think, I think there's a pretty good chance of it. If you do have to get out, certainly allow extra time. Power outages not expected. This is a snow event, so I don't expect we're going to see a lot of precipitation clinging to power lines. That is a good thing. Again, I'll stress the very cold Arctic air mass that's behind this system. We have a 48-hour period coming up here that it is going to be brutally cold. And so you need to be prepared for that. Make sure that, once again, that your pipes are precautions are taken. Your dripping faucets that might be on exterior walls in particular, open up those cabinet doors, make sure everything is all buttoned up there and that you're getting some heat on those. Don't forget those pets. Fido can't drink out of a frozen bowl, so make sure that you're taking care of him as well. At this point, there's probably not too many plants that have survived, but if there are, make sure you're taking care of those as well. Wind chills near zero Wednesday and Thursday mornings. Layer up as you head out. So those are some of the takeaways that we've got. What else? What other thoughts do you guys have as we get ready to close out this evening?
Yeah, this is not really a normal quote-unquote snow for Memphis, because we usually get, like you said, we get the big wet flakes. Temperatures 30, 31. You know, this is new territory in a way for us with the falling temperatures. So, like you, I think the roads could be pretty treacherous, or it could be, you know, just wet with blowing snow around. I would say definitely plan for a lot more time on your commute tomorrow if you're going to work.
Absolutely. Good advice. And I think if you were out this evening and you saw areas that maybe had snow melt, running water, and so forth, that will freeze up tonight as well. So if you saw water when you were coming home from work, expect it to be ice tomorrow morning when you're going back in. Alex, do you want to discuss for a minute what you guys are expecting down there at Mississippi State as well? I know you've probably got some followers from down there keeping tabs.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at maybe another inch here, roughly. We're looking at the inch area. I don't think it's going to be more than 2 inches that we're going to be looking at here at Mississippi State. There is some room for debate. I don't know if Lauren wants to jump in here with her thoughts on potential snow totals as well. It's all going to depend on how much of that survives and makes its way this far south. If there is going to be anything, we may get some of those wet flakes to begin with, and then it starts to dry out, kind of like up in Memphis as we go through the early morning of tomorrow.
Excellent. Well, best of luck. I think that is a daytime event for you guys, though, tomorrow, right? Mostly.
Yep.
Mostly morning and
yeah.
Go ahead, Lauren.
I think we're looking around mid-morning till early afternoon. So good time to play in the snow.
Yeah. Much better for doing that than getting up at midnight here and going out in the middle of it.
Right.
No midnight snowmen. John has got a screen to share there. You've got some information to pass on to folks, I know, about road conditions.
Yeah, just want to share real quick. This is actually also on the Weather Service website, but this is just a list of places to go to look for information. I'll get this to Eric so he can get this up as well. If you're traveling, I always get questions. If I have to go blank, how is the weather going to be? I would say that the good old I-40 corridor is going to be a problem tomorrow. Pretty much right up the corridor, especially up towards Jackson and up. I've got all the websites pulled up for all the local Department of Transportation. This is the Tennessee one. You can go to smartway.tn.gov and kind of get a map to see where are. I've started to see the area up around Union City and Dyersburg kind of fill in a little bit. Not really surprised, considering they've pretty much from what about northeast Arkansas, Paragould over. They've had snow most of the day. Arkansas obviously is starting to kind of fill in a little bit. These are all very good maps. They have, they're color coded, easy to read. As I say that, as it loads slowly, like it's showing snow right now pretty much from Jonesboro north. This is Mississippi. Not really anything to show down there right now, but these will be good sites to check. In Kentucky, they've kind of got the brunt of it so far, I think, today between Evansville, Henderson, and Paducah. So all good sites to kind of keep an eye on as you if you do have to travel tomorrow. I just don't think the roads are going to be good enough to take off on any sort of road trips at any time tomorrow. But if you must, just, they all have apps and such, so be sure to download it and just take it easy and plan lots and lots of extra time.
All good points. And that SmartWay one for Memphis is excellent as well. I was watching that closely on Friday morning, and the whole city lit up orange and a little bit of red in there, as even without many accidents, people were just driving so slowly that the colors were lighting up. And then as the day as we got into the afternoon, it was interesting to watch too, because we had a little bit of melting that took place, and so the interstate started turning green, and then some of the primary roads started turning green. You really gives you a good idea of exactly what to expect out there. So good stuff, and you can put up the traffic cams on there too, and that was a good way to be able to see what is falling and what the roads look like with those cams. So I think a lot of the DOTs have those as well. Lauren, do you have any other thoughts here? Nope. Okay, then what I'm going to do is go around the horn one more time, and I'm going to ask for your predictions of how much snow Memphis International Airport is going to record officially with this event. 1/10 of an inch, please. Price is Right, closest to without going over is going to win the big prize. I got a free app for you. No, wait, you guys already have the app. Never mind. And when you do that, if you'll tell people where they can find you on social media, so if they want to follow up afterwards or give you a follow, that'd be great. So let's start off with Alex Dunner.
All right, I'm going to go with 2.3 inches at Memphis International, and you can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at AlexHerbstWX.
And that's HERBSTWX. Thank you, Alex. I appreciate you being on tonight. I'm going to put you down. Alex, 2.3. Got it. All right. Lauren, you want to take the next one?
Sure. All right, so I'm going to aim high.
Awesome.
And I'm going to go with 3.4.
Wow. She's liking her with the 15-to-1 ratios, ladies and gentlemen.
Higher ratios.
Higher ratios. All right. We've got it. And tell folks where they can find you on Twitter or Facebook if you want.
My Twitter is Lauren E. Pounds.
All right.
Just my name.
Just your name. Someday you'll put WX at the end of it.
Maybe so.
It'll all be cool. All right, John, back to you.
I'm gonna go 3.5. I've got to be that guy with $1. The guy that always the high bid is $1,000. I'm gonna go 1,001. I'm gonna go 3.5. I think the storm's gonna outperform a little bit. You can occasionally find me on Twitter at TigerJohnM.
Occasionally, that could be the key word there. Excellent. Thanks for being on tonight, John. Daniel, are you gonna go with 0.1 just so that everybody gets bid out when it lands at 2.2?
No, I'm not going to go 0.1. I'm going to go 2.5.
2.5. All right.
And I'm at Daniel Gafford on Twitter.
Excellent. Thank you. Wow. You guys have left a gap there in the middle for me. I'm going to shoot right down the middle of it. I'm going to go 2.5 inches. I think 2.5 is about where we're going to end up. If you had asked me this morning, I probably would have been closer to 1.8. But the more I see and considering these ratios and stuff, I think it might be a little bit more than that. So I hope that any one of these numbers comes true for all of you that are out there watching, that you wake up tomorrow morning to a little winter wonderland. You check and see that your school is closed, and then you go back either to sleep or to bundle up the children and let them get out. Make sure that you have them covered up very, very well tomorrow, because this is not 30 degrees and a beautiful snow out there. It is going to be somewhat treacherous. So, but I hope they get one more opportunity to do that before they head back to school. So I appreciate everybody that has joined tonight. Make sure you're following us as well, Memphis Weather 1 on Facebook and Twitter. We will be bringing you updates perhaps throughout the night. We'll see how many interns I can get on board so that I can get a little sleep tonight. But we'll definitely have the latest information for you as it comes into us, school closings and stuff. I think some of them are already starting to close. I see Fayette and Tipton County are definitely out. DeSoto and Shelby are still working on it. And that would include all the municipals as well. But we'll have that information for you, and certainly be following us on Facebook and Twitter, the MemphisWeather.net blog, and download the app if you don't already have it. I appreciate everybody that has joined recently and started following. If you don't have the app already, you can go to app.MemphisWeather.net and get all of our good information right in one nice little customized package for you there. Winter weather alerts through Stormwatch Plus have been coming out on my phone today, and I'm sure many of you others. And make sure that you check that out as well. So I'll wrap it up for the rest of the panel. I appreciate everybody joining tonight, and we will see you again very soon. Everyone have a good night.